Today on CJ Off-Road, we're going to show you how to make your Jeep trail ready. Going out of the trail can be really difficult if you go by yourself, and in case you get stuck, today we're going to look at this Smittybilt XRC Gen 2 9,500 pound capacity winch. This is Smittybilt's second generation of their XRC winch, which has been extremely popular in the off-road world. It features a 6.6 horsepower series wound motor with a 3-stage planetary drive. The housing of the body features an IP67 rating with a durable UV resistant black coating. It includes a 4-way roller fairlead with both black and machined elements. Now it does feature a steel cable and also all the wiring connections and even a clevis hook to get it installed. So let's get it installed in our 2013 Jeep Wrangler. Tools needed for this installation: a 3/8 inch ratchet, 10mm socket, 14mm socket, 16mm socket, 18mm socket, a swivel, a 4-inch extension, 16mm box wrench, 18mm box wrench, and a set of needle nose pliers. Before we get the winch installed onto the Jeep, there are a couple things that we need to do. The solenoid here, which is what gives power to the winch and activates the motor, has to be installed. There's a couple ways you can do it, and Smittybilt includes the brackets to do so. You can put it offset of the winch, but in our case, we're going to put it right here in the center. That's where we have the most space. So let's put the brackets on and get it installed. So we've got the solenoid flipped upside down, and since we're going to go to the top mounted location, I'm going to show you how to put the brackets on and get that all squared away. It actually comes with all the necessary hardware. So we're going to take the brackets, place them on top of the solenoid like this. Now you see where the wiring comes out? That's where the flat pieces are going to go. They're going to go towards that end. And we're going to go with this hole right here to mount it on. It includes spacers, so you put the spacer on before, on both of these holes. And then you put the longer screws with a lock washer on them and just get them threaded a couple threads. We'll tighten them down with the supplied Allen key. With all the screws tightened down, we can install the solenoid onto the top of the winch. Now this front end actually hooks up underneath. With the solenoid in place, grab another 2 of these Allen screws, and there's a threaded part right here. We're going to put 2 in and just tighten them up. Once again, make sure you put a lock washer on there. While the winch is still up on the table, we may as well connect the terminals for the wiring. Now as you can see, they are lettered and they correspond with the other letters on the winch. Let's get them tightened up now. To connect these terminals, all you have to do is unscrew the nut here, take the washer and the lock washer off, and then put the ring right on top of there and tighten it back down. Washer goes on first, then the lock washer, and then finally the nut. And we'll put them all on before we tighten them up. Now once you have it flipped over, you do have access to this bolt underneath. It unthreads the same as the other ones. And then we're going to connect 2 wires to it. You have this smaller wire right here that goes to the solenoid box. And then you have your main ground for the winch. And you're going to put both of those onto this. Then we'll flip it back over and get the rest of the terminals tightened up. Then we put the terminal covers right on top. And do the same for the other 2. While the winch is up on the table too, it helps to install the square nuts into this slot here. That way we'll be installing the bolts up through the bottom once it's actually sitting on the bumper. So take these and slide them in right here. And then I'm going to use a little bit of masking tape to hold them into place. And just a little bit of masking tape will do the job. We're just about ready to put the winch on, but before we do so, I went ahead and decided to put some masking tape on the grill and on the bumper just to protect it a little bit. Grab an extra set of hands and we'll get this thing put on right now. We're under the Jeep and you can only see one of the bolts here. I actually have it started and this is really where the masking tape will help. It'll keep that square nut into the housing there and let you thread on the bolt. Once you have that one tightened, we're going to go through and tighten down the rest of them. Once the winch is all bolted up, the final step is going to be to install the fair lead on the outside before you do your wiring. So as you can see, we've got a little bit of the wire spooled out. Make sure that you put this through before you bolt the fair lead on. Then we're going to use the supplied hardware, put the bolt in through the front, then put the nut onto the back. It's a bit tricky to get it started, but if you just work at it, you'll get it. Then we'll move on to the other side. Then we'll use an 18mm box wrench and socket to get these tightened down. Once the fair lead's all tightened up, we can put the clevis hook right onto the ring here. Start by putting it over, put the pin through, and then the cotter pin underneath, and we'll spread that out to make sure it stays on. Finish this up, let's put the safety pull strap right under the clevis hook, like so. So we got the wires all fished up through the engine compartment. Now we're ready to hook it up to our battery. And that completes the installation. Let's get it all hooked up and see if it works. All you have to do to use your winch is simply remove the cover on the solenoid there, and then plug your winch controller in. Now there is a little bit of an indexing notch and it'll slide right in and you'll hear a faint click. Once it's in, you're ready to use your winch. Now to use your winch properly, you have to be aware of this clutch over here. Now when the switch is pointing towards you, that's at a free spool, meaning that you can pull the cable towards you and use as much as you need. When you're ready to engage it and pull the winch in or recover yourself, you simply turn this to the engaged position and then you're ready to go. Now let's try it out and see how it works. Everything seems to be working great and the install turned out pretty good. We just finished up the install of the new XRC Gen 2 winch on the front of our Wrangler. It turned out really great and it's going to be a really good feature to have on the trail. You know what they say with the winch? It's better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. The install time only took about 2 hours. You can find this winch and many other great parts right here at cjponyparts.com.